production of Broad and High is funded in part by the Greater Columbus Arts Council, supporting arts, advancing culture, and connecting the community to artists, events, and classes at columbusmakesart.com.
PNC, committed to Central Ohio, for the achiever in you. From these contributing sponsors and viewers like you, thank you.
This time on Broad and High. April is National Poetry Month. Watch as 13 high school students compete for the chance to be named this year's Ohio Poetry Out Loud champion.
Half a league, onward.
This and more right now on Broad and High. Welcome back to Broad and High. I'm your host, Kate Quickle. April is National Poetry Month, which means it's time for the annual Poetry Out Loud competition. This is where high school students from around the state memorize and recite works of poetry on stage and in front of a panel of judges. 13 competitors from across Ohio recently descended upon the King Arts Complex in Columbus to compete for the chance to be named state champion. Tonight, we're bringing you their final round performances. See who will go on to represent Ohio in the national contest in Washington, D.C. later this month.
I'm Chiquita Mullins-Lee. I'm one of the Arts Learning Coordinators for the Ohio Arts Council, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the 14th Annual Poetry Out Loud State Finals for Ohio. 14! These finalists will be competing for the opportunity to represent Ohio at the national competition in Washington, D.C. These students come from all across the state. Each of them competed at their high school and then at one of our 6 regional semifinals and earned the honor of representing their school and their region at the state finals here today. I am so proud to present our 13 finalists who will be reciting here tonight. So let's bring them on stage.
It's not easy to memorize a poem, and even more impressive to recite it with confidence and grace in front of an audience. I'd like to congratulate all of the students and the teachers for their hard work and the accomplishment of making it to the stage today. The state finals will consist of 3 rounds. Each student will recite 1 poem in each of the first 2 rounds. The top 6 highest scoring students from the first 2 rounds will recite a 3rd poem in the final round. Contest results will be determined by the cumulative score from all 3 rounds. The contestants will be scored in 6 categories: physical presence, voice and articulation, dramatic appropriateness, evidence of understanding, overall performance, and accuracy. For this formidable task, I'd like to thank our 3 distinguished judges: Rose Smith, Steve Abbott, Nancy Kangas.
And so, quite frankly, at the end of the day, they got old and died. Okay, sure, but quite frankly,
I didn't think that I was giving up one life to get another. That even childhood was full of sacrifice.
She arrived at the country mansion in a silver limousine.
I must write the same poem over and over, for an empty page is the white flag of their surrender.
At night, wind-rippled saxophones that hung like wind chimes in pawn shop windows, hooting through each horn.
I fear and hope. I burn and freeze like ice.
I like the generosity of numbers. The way, for example, They are willing to count anything or anyone.
I am offering this poem to you since I have nothing else to give.
I am wearing dark glasses inside the house to match my dark mood. I have left all the sugar out of the pie.
If we must die, let it not be like hogs, hunted and penned in an inglorious spot.
The stillness in the room was like the stillness in the air between the heaves of storm.
But the days go by, and the lilacs die, and the trembling birds seek cover.
Fairy tales are full of impossible tasks. Gather the chin hairs of a man-eating goat, or cross a sulfuric lake in a leaky boat.
The results are in, and I will call you back up. Zoe Douglas, North Royalton High School, North Royalton. Dylan Abel, Bexley High School, Bexley. Emily Inyami, Westerville Central High School, Westerville. Scarlett Frischman, Toledo School for the Arts, Toledo. Anna Colley, Lima Central Catholic High School, Lima. Alexander Flood, the Lyceum, South Euclid.
The sea is calm tonight. The tide is full. The moon lies fair upon the straits. On the French coast, the light gleams and is gone. The cliffs of England stand, glimmering and vast, out in the tranquil bay. Come to the window, sweet is the night air, only from the long line of spray where the sea meets the moon-blanched land, listen. You hear the grating roar of pebbles which the waves draw back and fling at their return. Up the high strand, begin and cease, and then again begin, with tremulous cadence slow, and bring the eternal note of sadness in. Sophocles long ago heard it on the Aegean, and it brought into his mind the turbid ebb and flow of human misery. We find also in the sound a thought, hearing it by this distant northern sea. The sea of faith was once too at the full, and round earth's shore lay like the folds of a bright girdle furled. But now I only hear its melancholy, long, withdrawing roar, retreating to the breath of the night wind, down the vast edges drear and naked shingles of the world. Ah, love, let us be true to one another, for the world which seems to lie before us like a land of dreams, so various, so beautiful, so new, hath really neither joy, nor love, nor light, nor certitude, nor peace, nor help for pain. And we are here as on a darkling plain, swept with confused alarms of struggle and flight, where ignorant armies clash by night.
Half a league, half a league, half a league onward. All in the valley of death rode the 600. Forward the light brigade, charge for the guns, he said. Into the valley of death rode the 600. Forward the light brigade. Was there a man dismayed? Not though the soldier knew. Someone had blundered. Theirs not to make reply, theirs not to reason why, theirs but to do and die. Into the valley of death rode the 600. Cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them, cannon in front of them. Volleyed and thundered, stormed at with shot and shell, boldly they rode, and well, into the jaws of death, into the mouth of hell rode the 600. Flashed all their sabers bare, flashed as they turned in air, sabering the gunners there, charging an army, while all the world wondered. Plunged in the battery smoke, right through the line they broke. Cossack and Russian reeled from the saber stroke, shattered and sundered. Then they rode back, but not the 600. Cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them, cannon behind them. Volleyed and thundered, stormed at with shot and shell, while horse and hero fell. They that had fought so well came through the jaws of death, back from the mouth of hell. All that was left of them, left of 600. When can their glory fade? Oh, the wild charge they made. All the world wondered. Honor the charge they made. Honor the Light Brigade, noble 600.
I loved him not. And yet, now he is gone, I feel I am alone. I checked him while he spoke, yet could he speak? Alas, I would not check, for reasons not to love him once I sought, and wearied all my thought to vex myself and him. I now would give my love could he but live who lately lived for me. And when he found 'twas vain, in holy ground he hid his face amid the shades of death. I waste for him my breath who wasted his for me. But mine returns, and this lorn bosom burns with stifling heat, heaving it up in sleep, and waking me to weep tears that had melted his soft heart. For years wept he as bitter tears. Merciful God, such was his latest prayer, these may she never share. Quieter is his breath, his breast more cold than daisies in the mold, where children spell athwart the churchyard gate his name and life's brief date. Pray for him, gentle souls, whoe'er you be, and oh, pray too for me.
The thick-walled room's cave darkness, cool in summer, soothes by saying, "This is the truth," not the taut, cicada-strummed daylight. Rest here, out of the flame. The thick air is stirred by the fan's 4 slow-moving spoons. Under the house, the stone has its feet in deep water. Outside, even the sun god, dressed in this life as a lizard, abruptly rises on stiff legs and descends blasé towards the shadows.
I loved thee from the earliest dawn, when first I saw thy beauty's ray, and will until life's eve comes on and beauty's blossom fades away. And when all things go well with thee, with smiles and tears. Remember me. I'll love thee when thy morn is past, and wheedling gallantry's o'er, when youth is lost in age's blast, and beauty can ascend no more. And when life's journey ends with thee, oh, then look back and think of me. I'll love thee with a smile or frown, mid sorrow's gloom or pleasure's light. And when the chain of life runs down, pursue thy last eternal flight. When thou hast spread thy wing to flee, still, a moment, wait for me. I'll love thee for those sparkling eyes to which my fondness was betrayed, bearing the tincture of the skies to glow when other beauties fade. And when they sink too low to see, reflect an azure beam on me.
When in disgrace with fortune and men's eyes, I all alone beweep my outcast state, and trouble deaf heaven with my bootless cries, and look upon myself and curse my fate, wishing me like to one more rich in hope, featured like him with friends possessed, and desiring this man's art and that man's scope, with what I most enjoy, contented least. Yet, in these thoughts, myself almost despising, haply I think on thee, and then my state, like to the lark at break of day arising from sullen earth, sings hymns at heaven's gate. For thy sweet love remembered such wealth brings, that then I scorn to change my state with kings.
Okay, the results are in. We are going to announce 3 winners. Our third place winner is Emily Iyame, Westerville Central High School, Westerville.
I now would give my love could he but live, who lately lived for me.
Our second place winner is Dylan Abel, Bexley High School, Bexley.
Cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them, cannon in front of them.
And now it's time for the first prize. The winner of Ohio's 14th annual Poetry Out Loud competition and our new Poetry Out Loud state champion is Anna Colley, Lima Central Catholic High School, Lima.
And when all things go well with thee, with smiles and tears, remember me.
Anna, we wish you the best as you and a chaperone. You have to take a chaperone to Washington, D.C. to represent Ohio at the Poetry Out Loud National Finals. In Washington, D.C., Anna will compete with 52 other students from all over the country for a chance to win a $20,000 prize and the title of National Poetry Out Loud Champion. We know that you'll make us all very proud.
Good luck to Anna as she competes in Washington, D.C. at the National Poetry Out Loud semifinals on Tuesday, April 30th. You can watch the event live at poetryoutloud.org. April is not only National Poetry Month, it's also National Autism Awareness Month. Our next story is about an innovative project that combines Shakespeare and autism. The Royal Shakespeare Company is combining the familiar iambic pentameter with sensory drama games to encourage young people on the spectrum to experience and express emotions. Researchers at Ohio State are working with the company to determine if using Shakespeare's plays as a teaching and therapy tool can have lasting benefits for people with autism.
Step back.
The rhythm of Shakespeare's language is based on the rhythm of a heartbeat. The poetry is in the rhythm of the iambic, which is a heartbeat. The heartbeat is arguably the first sound we hear in the womb before we're born, so it's a calming, nurturing sound. We begin the show and end the show making that rhythm of the heartbeat.
But Shakespeare is sort of uniquely qualified because A, there's a lot of heightened circumstances, and he speaks a lot about what it's like to be fully alive.
I'll take them! I'll take them! To the pile! Okay. Oh, that's great for the audience.
And then the iambic pentameter is written in the rhythm of a heartbeat. So those things combined with this sort of extreme situations and possibility for characterization all sort of coalesce into a perfect package for this.
The actors and the children play games together, sensory drama games, which I've worked on and created over the last 12 years. The games tell the story of the Tempest, but at the same time they challenge the children's autism, allowing them to explore their eye contact and their speech and language, their spatial awareness and their sensory life, and above all, really enjoy themselves. With 6 actors and 15 children, the actors have 2 or 3 children with them. So the actors are spaced evenly around the circle, and the children sit with the actors. So each actor kind of has a little team of 2 or 3 children, and as they get up and play, the children play with their specific actor.
I play Caliban, the savage, uneducated savage. I'm taught how to speak, and I'm taught how to become more civilized.
I'll fall flat.
The task of the actor, as it were, is to remain completely and utterly focused in the moment of playing. And if you can do that with your audience, especially if that audience has difficulty perceiving and difficulty in terms of perception, but actually you can break through those difficulties, then you're really onto something.
I like the challenge of it, I like the provocation of it, I like the compassion of it. And I like to watch these children sometimes transform in front of your eyes.
Somehow the children have their mode of communication, we have ours, and we meet in the middle. There is now, I think, we've all developed a sense of intuition about what they're getting, or that they're experiencing something, that they're awakening. It's like they're coming to life.
It's actually a great acting training, a great acting challenge, because you have the role you're playing and you know everyone else's role as well, but you also have a team of children that you're not only responsible for in a sort of common sense way, but also in terms of engaging them in the games and sort of gauging the temperature of what's going on with everybody else.
And now Zach and Kevin are going to throw the angry face to Chris and Liam and Olivia with a 1, 2, 3, throw.
This project came about as part of the partnership project with OSU and the RSC, who are researching this work outside of the theatrical context. So the games that I've invented are being played twice a week over a 2-year period. And researchers at the Nisonga Center at OSU are evaluating the games against a control group of children who are not receiving the intervention. So that's gone very well, and the studies are looking very positive. They're going to be publishing the results next year.
I think for families watching, at least a lot of what we've heard is, I've never seen my child involve themselves in that way. I've never seen them emote. I've never seen them just sit in a circle and smile genuinely about something that's going on for them.
I think it's a risk every time we do it, and somehow the risk pays off. It's a risk because we're asking these children, who we've never met before in most cases, to enter a world of imagination. And we take the risk that they're going to immediately enter that world without any resistance. Most do. There are some resistances, and usually they melt over the course of the hour and a half.
Goodbye, 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 and we'll rest our hands and give ourselves a big round of applause.
Learn more about the Hunter Heartbeat Method and how it is being used to help children with autism at kellyhunter.co.uk. And that's our show for today. For all of us here at WOSU, I'm Kate Quickle. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here next week with more great stories of Columbus creativity.
Production of Broad and High is funded in part by the Greater Columbus Arts Council, supporting arts, advancing culture, and connecting the community to artists, events, and classes at columbusmakesart.com.
PNC, committed to Central Ohio, for the achiever in you. From these contributing sponsors and viewers like you, thank you.